Welcome to Season 2 of Fighters Crossing's Tournament Series. Fighters Cross is a monthly sponsored tournament hosted to showcase the skills of passionate card fighters. So if you're up for the challenge, check out the Card Fight Club Discord and sign up to the next tournament. Description in the box down below. So 16 fighters will be duking out today and only one champion will be walking away with 10 booster packs. So let's check out our contestants. So on our first bracket, we have Diachan up against Akumasan Desu. Akumasan Desu is our previous champion of Fighters Crossing, and will he be able to defend his title with his Narukami once again? Let's find out. On bracket 2, we have Axel using Spike Brothers going up against Jaden Guo using Kagero The End. Bracket 3, Loud Apple with Aquaforce up against Expectonic. Bracket 4, we have Epic 930 up against my moderator Sheena of my Discord. In bracket 5, we have XZ2 up against Davey, a newcomer for our championship. I hope you'll join us once again, and thank you guys, newer players, for coming in. Bracket 6, we have Misaki up against Kurokishi. Misaki is always using an interesting deck, so I look forward to seeing what deck he uses this time round. Number 7, we have Karma IDN against YJ Noob. Karma using Narukami and is actually quite an experienced Narukami user. So Karma matches are very interesting to watch if you are an aspiring Narukami player. And on bracket 8, we have Acolyte up against Prometheus X. So Acolyte using Shell Paladins, a very promising deck, a very solid deck up against Prometheus X. So without further ado, let's have an awesome card fight. For the first match, we have Jaden Guo going up against Axel, and right now both fighters are preparing. Axel with his Spike Brothers will be going up against most likely Shell Paladins, and he is also a top 100 of the Blazing Swordsman title, so it is going to be a very interesting fight. Let's hop into the game. Going first is Axel, and let's see what he performs. Unfortunately, Axel does run into a PG, not the best opening play, but however, PGs ain't really important against Kagero, since Kagero don't really have a lot of crit other than the early game Striken combo into Dragonic Overlord or the end. So what Jaden Guo rides into is the Doom Griffin, which allows you to search out for Dragonic Overlord at the end to ensure that you pull off your Persona Blast, pulling the conroll to the right side, right back. Interesting choice because most fighters do pull it at the back of your Vanguards, just in case you don't have any Vanguards to call. Your Vanguards will be at least be guaranteed to hit the opponent's Vanguard if they ride a Pancake Vanilla. So checking a draw trigger in the first trigger check is looking very promising for Jaden Guo. Powering up that conroll, and both players check the draw trigger, so it's a pretty balanced match. Most of the time when I'm playing Vanguard, if my opponent checks the draw trigger, I'm thinking oh my god, it's going to be a very bad game because I'm having a lucky opponent, but both the player and the opponents are having the exact same draw triggers. Pretty dang amazing. So a pretty even matchup right now. As I previously mentioned, having the booster at the Vanguard is very important because just in case your opponent rides a 10k vanilla like this Black Panther, Treasured Black Panther, and he calls out the Darkly Douglas, which is kind of vanilla right now. So Darkly Douglas probably will be swinging before Panther, and another Panther. He doesn't hit any magic numbers unless he calls down another 6k booster. So he does activate Jelly Beans to get a 6k Darkly Phantom, making it a 6k magic number with the 16k column with the Black Treasured Panther. So it looks like a very solid formation, and the only way Jaden Guo will be able to escape this monstrous rush is if he is able to check a defensive trigger to prevent attack. But however, Axel does use the ability of the Mecha Trainer to search out a PG, which reduces offense, and now wow, he checks a draw trigger. It's exactly what he needed to push over 15k to deal the second point of damage. Oh, it's no defensive triggers at all, so it is a very powerful turn for Axel, and this might actually determine the game because early game is Spike Brothers able to push off a rush and push them to 4 damage early. When Axel hits the first limit break, it's very likely game. So now we pass over to Jaden Guo. Will he be able to make a comeback with stuff like heal triggers? Let's find out. Also, the very bad thing is that he has one of his PGs in the damage zone already, and also the opponent has a couple of 10k vanillas, so the only way he can get rid of them is by either retiring with Berserk Dragon ability, which is what he's gonna do right now. Probably swing the Berserk Dragon to the 9k at the side, and hopefully have another grade 2 rearguard to supplement and swing it to the Vanguard, because the Vanguard's 10k base. So it's not looking too well for Jaden Guo as he's thinking what are some of these rearguards he can call. He could possibly just call down a random booster to put in front of conroll to swing the Vanguard, because it doesn't really matter since after conroll is gone, you can push the booster back. So he just calls a Bellicosity Dragon together with Gojo. So it'll be able to counter charge and hit magic numbers. Perfect. So it doesn't check a trigger, unfortunately, and passes the attack to Bellicosity Dragon. Will it hit? Definitely will hit. But will the counter charge help him? In the long run, yes. Another draw trigger. Looks like Axel is having a very good time with his triggers. So another Dudley Emperor trigger. So, however, that may not be the best option because there is a chance that he might not draw into his Dudley Emperor, since a lot of Dudley Emperors has end up out in the damage zone or in the trigger zone. He does run into Dudley Emperor, so that's really fortunate. There are games that people just write all their check all their great trees at the trigger they need, like MLB, and they never ever get the right MLB. Activate the Dudley the Jelly Beans to get out Dudley Douglas. Dudley Douglas to the rearguard circle. So that Logos will be able to solo. He calls out the Emperor because it's pretty much a very useless unit right now. Yeah, and you just want to swing for early game progression, trying to push him to 5, which is very possible if the opponent does not check any defensive triggers. Second check. There's no triggers, so will he be able to counter with a trigger check? It doesn't even counter because of the fact that it's still 17k base, so apologize. So he gets a draw trigger, kind of too late. It's quite late because there's not much advantage for him going, and this only way to make a comeback is if he can triple check triggers or check multiple triggers using Dragonic Overlord at the end. But I don't think that'll be the case because unless he writes into Dragonic Overlord at the end, it's really hard. So Jaden Guo writes into Dragonic Overlord, so trying to hopefully survive to the next turn so he can rack up for that cross right number. So it'll be very very hard for the Dudley or Redder Spike Brothers to hit multiple attacks. So let's see. So his couple options he could do is probably try to get into even Dragonic Overlord won't be really useful right now because the rearguards that Axel threw out is actually it's kind of moot, whereas he actually called extra grade 3, possibly because he wants the opponent to hit him to 4 damage. So Jaden Guo must be very careful on attacking Axel because there's a chance that when Axel is calling that grade 3, is a chance just that he wants extra damage, you know. So the only way Jaden Guo can come out of this alive is he have to check heal triggers right now at this exact moment. He doesn't check any triggers, very unfortunate. So this may or may not push Axel to 4. From what I'm seeing, he may not be able to push Axel to 4. And he gets to counter charge 1. And also finally the last Burning Horn Dragon will probably be attacking the rearguard. I guess Jaden Guo was hoping that he checks a trigger so that he'll be dealing him to 4 damage, but isn't the case. And also there's a chance that even if he gets a trigger, he won't want to deal 4 damage to the Dudley Emperor because that will mean it's a game. Now with 2 intercepts and potentially 1 PG in hand thanks to Conroe, there's a huge chance that Jaden Guo will still survive this turn. So calls out 2 grade 3s, trying to bait out more damage for the limit break. So let's see what we have here. In this situation, we will most likely be able to clear off his rearguards and Jaden Guo will have extra turn. So it will be Jaden Guo's next turn to see how it all turn out, whether he can check extra triggers to survive. Swing with the Dudley Emperor. Second check. There's no triggers, unfortunately. And finally, Juggernaut Maximum. Will Axel be using Juggernaut Maximum skill? Because there's a chance that he might not want to use the ability to prevent. Yes, as you can see, he does not want to use the ability so that he can save the soul for late game. It's very important for Dudley Emperor players to be very careful of the soul, the supply. So Jaden Guo's turn. Will he cross right? Cross right will give him a bit of upper hand because there are stuff like Reckless Express won't be able to solo the Vanguard. So he calls out Striker and another Berserk Dragon. Berserk Dragon probably won't be able to activate right here because of the fact that he only retires a grade 2 or less rearguard. And unfortunately, Striker won't be able to attack the Dudley Emperor. So it all comes down to Dragonic Overlord at the end and the Berserk Dragon do the beatdown. So Striker attacks the rearguard, the grade 3 rearguard with 10k base. Now he probably attack with Dragonic Overlord at the end first. No triggers. Second check, there's no triggers. Oh my god, it is very unlucky for Jaden Guo as he did not check a single trigger. And Axel, to wrap insult to injury, he checks another draw trigger, powering up the Dudley Emperor and making Jaden Guo attack miss on the Dudley Emperor. So now, Limit Break's online and we will see some cool stuff from Spec Brothers. And with only one hand card, which is most likely the... may likely be a PG, it is most likely game against Jaden Guo. Because Axel will be able to call out 2 rearguards to clear off the 2 intercepts and then use Dudley Emperor's skill to call out extra rearguards for the finish. So Axel carefully planning his move, taking a while to think because it's very important. This is the if Jaden Guo survives this, there is also a chance that Jaden Guo might win because of the fact that Dudley Emperor does extend all its hand size just to clear off just to finish game. So 2 magic numbers, which is most likely going to be Soul Blasted. Let's check. Dudley Emperor does have exactly 2 souls. That's why he didn't actually use the Maximus effect the previous turn. Maximum effect, I'm sorry. So swing 1, swing 2. Most likely will be activating Juggernaut Maximum skill so that he can clear off a rearguard circle. Otherwise, you won't be able to activate a Dudley Emperor skill to call rearguards because he does have to be on open rearguard circle. So he leaves 1 extra column so that he will be able to swing. So the only way Jaden Guo will survive is he checks a heal trigger right now, this exact moment. And the opponent, and of course Axel doesn't check any triggers. So Limit Break skill calls out 1 column, 1 powerful column. With 2 souls, because thanks to Dudley Emperor's skill, he replenishes the soul with 1. So he calls out one set of an intercept of extra power. And another draw trigger, so the power is definitely going into Black Panther. Black Panther with 21k right now. So it's very important because if he checks a death heal, he will survive because of the ooh, it's a death heal, damn! 23k, oh! Wait, can it still hit? Get 4k! That is just nice! This is amazing! So, as I expected, if he checks the death heal, he will still survive because it's a cross ride. So, what will it be? Oh, it's not the heal trigger, but damn! If he did not call out the Dudley Phantom, it would definitely be game for... He might be game for Jaden Guo, and Axel might have freaked out as well. So amazing game. Jaden Guo, even though did not check any triggers in the early game, that heal trigger could have completely turned the game if Axel called out the wrong units. So anyway, congratulations to Axel on winning round 1. And let's go on to our next game. For round 2, we have a game between Poke and Acolyte. So Poke is using Narukami while Acolyte is using Shadow Paladins. So this is a very epic matchup because these are 2 of the top tier decks right now. Narukami is very commonly seen in ranked, and Shadow Paladin is still being one of the most solid decks that's not getting nerfed from, unlike MLB and Dragon Age Overlord at the end. So this is a really solid matchup. So and from what I'm seeing, Acolyte is having an amazing hand. So just to confirm that Acolyte is using the Shadow Paladins. So he did manage to start out with Blaster Javelin, which is a very solid, which allows him to fetch out 1 Blaster Blade. Blaster Dark, I'm sorry. So draws into the perfect PG, and now go to write the Avatar of Darkness Blaster Dark. So really solid. If he does have 2 extra combat blasts, he will be able to retire the starter Saishin, which is extremely huge. But not at this point because Saishin won't be able to retire anything that is grade 1 or less. So he activates Scourge Neven, discarding 1 card, most likely a trigger, to draw 2 extra cards into his hand. Drawing a Blaster Dark and a Charon, interesting choice. So most likely we'll be calling out the Curse Lancer. Did he forget to call Curse Lancer? He could possibly just call Curse Lancer and put Charon behind a Blaster Dark because it's a 11k base. So if you were to cross right into Phantom Blaster Overlord, you hit 21k base against magic numbers in Vermilion. So he passes his turn over to Poke. And Poke with Narukami will be starting his turn, riding in grade 2. So he writes the best combo, which is the Garuda, together with the starter to retire. But in this situation, you won't be able to retire any stuff because this starter will only be able to retire 1 grade 1 or less rearguard. So that's maybe also one of the reasons why Acolyte did not call his Sharon, because of the fact that Sharon will get retired if he does leave it out there. So he plays more conservatively, draws into the Phantom Blaster Dragon. And looking at his hand, he has a chance to go into Dam Charging Lines, but he probably won't because he wants to activate Scourge Nebben. There's no way for him to activate Dam Charging Lines as well, because as much as this card looks like a Phantom Blaster Overlord, it is actually a face down. My bad. So he calls out the domain, activate the moment skill, discard the Phantom Blaster Dragon, most likely to draw 2 extra cards into his hand. So he draws into a Bub card and a Blaster Javelin. Not bad, because he does actually need a bit of boosters to get his columns working. So he now calls out the Sharon to hit a 19k magic number. Interesting. It might also be the plan of him to hit the magic number. Fortunately, Poke does check a draw trigger, but unfortunately, it still hits the magic number. But the draw trigger allows him to draw an extra card to his hand. Whoa, that heal trigger is amazing. And the heal trigger to a Phantom Blaster Overlord, that is not something you see every single day. So, and another draw trigger, that is huge. And he draws into a PvO, which is exactly what he needs. It is an amazing play. Or luck. And both players get a heal trigger. Amazing. So this way, Poke is not feeling too bad about opponents stacking too much triggers, because that heal trigger came in kind of at the right time. Unfortunately, he just loses a chance to spend 1 Counter Blast, thanks to him not activating able to activate the ability of his starter the last turn. So he writes into Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion, but not at limit break. It's pretty much a vanilla right now, except for the fact that it's able to gain 3k when it attacks. So he calls out a Stormy to boost up numbers in case he could just call the Dragonic's left side. There's a chance that he can call Dragonic's left side just right now, because as expected, because Dragonic's side is very, very good in this situation, because he will be able to retire 1 grade 2 or less rearguard and power up Stormy to hit 19k. Doesn't really matter, because it's a good play if your opponent's still at 9k base Vanguards, but in this situation, opponent's already 11k base. So he's thinking of what rearguard to retire. Should he retire the booster? The booster is actually a pretty decent choice as well. As what he did, he retired the booster so that he won't be able to hit cross-right magic number 21k. So he does power up Stormy and hit 9k. 9k probably will be swinging to the domain. He will attack with the most likely the side first, because he wants to guarantee that he can counter charge, making the dead side semi-free. Counter charge, amazing. So now he activates the ability of Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion to act plus 3k, making a 19k base. He gets a draw trigger, amazing. So a pretty even matchup. Both players are scoring a good amount of triggers. So damage check. It's a heal trigger. Wow, the heal trigger is way too good. It basically serves as a free counter charge. Looks like Acolyte is having a very good luck. Is really lucky with his triggers, but and also a very, very good hand, because he will be able to not only ride the Phantom Blaster Overlord, he will be able to use Bub card to farm up some units to retire rearguards, which is something that he might potentially consider, because they don't really have any options to use Count Blast. So I believe this turn he might be using this ability to retire some free fodder called out by Bub card. As you can see. Oh, he does not go for Phantom Blaster Overlord, but instead he chooses to go into Dam Charging Lines. A really viable option, because there's a chance that he wants to just pressure Pokes to not go into limit break. So he calls out the trigger, unfortunately, but right now he used Dam Charging Lines and retire the three useless rearguards. Probably he retires the main. That's very interesting. So he powers up and he retires the Stormy, which is a very interesting choice as well. Calls out Blaster Duck, and right now he will be able to bring him to 4. Well, if he does his plan as well, what I would do personally is throw down the booster, retire one of the rearguards, intercept, and hit 1 rearguard swing to the Vanguard to make it 3, and pressure with this unit so that he won't be able to use the Vermilion Thunderbolt, which I will see come right now, unless he checks the heal trigger somewhat. Heal trigger, oh my god, it's like a Psycholia or something, but it's not, it's just luck. So he checks the heal trigger, so quite unfortunate for Poke, he won't be able to activate his limit break, which will definitely be quite useful, because he'll be at least be able to get rid of 2 rearguards and make opponents have an empty board. But this is also one problem, because Acolyte previously retired his Stormy, which is something that he would want right now, because one problem of Narukami is they don't really have enough boosters sometimes. They don't have any power to recruit, but he does call out extra Stormy he has saved in his hand for this right moment. So anyway, he still won't be able to get the most out of the damage, but however, comes in the Dragonic Death side with the Counter Blast 2 to retire the rearguard. Now he will be able to push for high damage, making that magic number with 21k amazing. Unfortunately, the Dragonic Death side won't be able to hit anything. If he had a booster, it would have been potential 5 damage unless Acolyte checks a damage trigger. So Acolyte checks the damage check, no triggers. I'm also probably guessing that Poke wanted to check a trigger so they can power up to the Dragonic Death side, and Dragonic Death sides go and swing into the rearguard, which is so good because potentially he still clear the opponent's board. But that was a missed opportunity somehow for Poke, as he could have dealt 3 damage if he had a booster behind the Death side, which was retired by Acolyte the previous turn. So he rides and get a cross ride. Phantom Blaster Overlord with that cross ride is pretty big, because now he escapes a lot of the magic numbers that will be coming from Stormy on the opponent's side, because he hits only 21k and he needs a 23k right now to hit big numbers. But as the opponent comes to lethal damage at 6, it doesn't really matter. Magic numbers don't really matter a lot, because most likely you can use those units to attack their rearguards anyway. So he used the ability to Counter Blast 2 to retire the intercept, potentially pushing because he does have that secret weapon, which is the Persona Blast in his hand. So also having the Curse Lancer is great, because Curse Lancer will be able to net him on counter charge, so that the next turn he will be able to activate another retiring effect. Wow, fortunately Poke does get a draw trigger and counter charges coming in from the Curse Lancer, and 21k does not escape the destructive damn charging lance Persona Blast. So this corrupted charging lance, discarding 1, become a 23k power and 1 additional critical. This game will end right here if Poke does not have the PG in his hand. So does he have the PGs he needs? He does have it, because that is his first PG used on second PG, to be fair, because that's one is in the damage zone. There's actually chances the opponent does not even draw a PG the entire game, so sometimes they're lucky strike with the damn charging lance code endgame in certain situations. So now it's Poke turn, and how will Poke make a comeback? It's very smart of Acolyte to not call down the Masquerade when he could call down the Masquerade, because he potentially sees that Poke will be at 4 damage at least, and it's guaranteed to use the units and making random quite weak the next turn, because he won't have a full board. As you can see, he will only be able to call Masquerade potential unless he top draws into attacker his next turn. So he seals up the Curse Lancer, calls out the Dragonic Death side, might be retiring the back row. He's thinking very hard, or he might be thinking of just using Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion skill, but might not be worth it because he already sealed the rearguards. So thinking really hard. It's very important because he actually wants to retire so that he can hit magic number against 13k base, because with this he becomes a 19k base. Or it doesn't really matter because of the fact that most Dragon Kaiser Vermilion will be the second to hit with that 19k base. He probably should have attacked with Dragon Kaiser second, because Dragon Kaiser is 19k and either of these triggers are okay to attack. But he just checked a heal trigger, pretty huge, and a draw trigger, very big advantage right there. Very perfectly timed triggers. So he does check a trigger second, and it should be safe. It is actually not safe for Acolyte, because Acolyte does, as I say, hit both 19k and above, so which means he has to have a death heal to save his life right now. Oh wow, that is really unfortunate. The double trigger actually won the game. I didn't count the double trigger that Poke will unleash, but the double trigger definitely basically won that game. Next we have Misaki up against Karma, IDN, I think with his clan name probably. So very interesting choice, happily losing Misaki, which is probably one of the previous members who's using the Oracle Think Tank deck to get second place. He's using a very interesting deck today, which is Zio. So as pretty unfortunate he doesn't have the chain right, so he keeps the chain, and oh my god, that isn't a good hand at all. He draws multiple PGs and the boss mother Zio. very important to draw into your combo pieces, since the, most of the abilities activate and give you pluses when you chain right among one another. So fortunately, she at least gets the grade 2 going. So for first right, at least she will be able to get that one free booster out. Otherwise, most of the time she won't be able to get the booster out anyway. So in a way, really close right there, because she could have misgrade and not get the chain right at the same time. So, but unfortunately, she also loses a PG at this. So right now we have Karma. Karma IDN. So Karma rides into his vanilla unit and swings to, and especially I mistaken. Sorry for previously calling Karma poke, because I think he was using the poke in this Discord, but it's actually Karma slash poke. Okay, in a way, so it's actually Karma. So Karma uses and swing, and Misaki doesn't really get any triggers. Pretty slow start in the for both players. So Misaki to stand and draw. She'll be able to ride into her ability. I actually have forgotten her ability. They might have updated this since the original Vanguard. So I guess minus 5k when wrote a buff on a grade 3. So she definitely will ride to that. And this is definitely your damage enabler, Spiting Saucers, which allows you to use your effect of the Zeals. So she rides into Galactic Beast Zeal. Devour Planet Zeal, I'm sorry. Galactic Beast is the final one. So it swings. Does not have any on hits effect. So trigger check. There's no triggers. Damage check. Blank for both players. Pretty fair start. I'm actually looking forward, because this is the first time I see Zeal in competition, and Misaki actually defeated 2 players coming here to semi-finals. So this might be the first time I actually see a Zeal deck in action. Really hyped. So now Karmi's turn. So what will Karma do? What will he ride into? There's a chance that he ride into Garuda once again. So with Garuda combo with the Spark Hit, you'll be able to retire the booster for free. He has 2 Spark Hits, 2 Garuda, so that means it's 2 times the counter charge. Doesn't really matter, because he'll be counter charging 1 for sure. So on hit, activating ability, counter blast 1, retire the rearguard, the chain into the Garuda's effect, counter charge 1. Very nice. Oh, he does not activate the ability to retire. Very interesting. Now possibly he's saving up for some bigger plans, or maybe he's waiting to have some Stormy in the hand. Really interesting play by Karma right there. So he passes turn to Zeal, Galactic Beast Zeal, and now we can see some really cool limit breaks, because Misaki does have the damage enabler in her hand. So pretty nice. She draws into another intercept, because she doesn't have any intercepts, which is actually pretty bad. Since she's already at 4 damage, she's to 1, which is a pretty huge gap. But right now, it's a huge chance for her to push that gap back. So it writes ability of Zeal. The chain right ability, minus 5k to the Vanguard. Also for each rearguard, so Misaki will be calling a lot of rearguards onto the field. And also with the opponent only having 1 intercept, this is actually a very good chance for her to push a lot of damage in, because she does not be afraid. She's not afraid that he actually checked the trigger, since those triggers won't really do much to add up the attack power. So activating the limit break. So with this, the opponent Vanguard goes down to 0, a 0 power Vanguard. That is simply amazing. And I believe if you call 1, back in the old rules, you can actually make it the negative 1k. And you can see it's negative 1k because of the 5 rearguards. So negative 1k. So that's something pretty cool in Vanguard, that there's actually a negative value in Vanguard. I don't know what I'm saying. So anyway, Kaiju attacks the side, and we potentially see no way of escaping, means to guarantee 3 damage. But this 3 damage is also very important on Misaki, because he don't really want his Vermilion to go to Vermilion Thunderbolt. So it's not bad. So Misaki probably now really hopes that she checks a heal trigger. So the first damage going in, So even if it's a trigger, it's a huge trigger, quite wasted. It will get plus 1k and it becomes 9k, so it doesn't really matter. So the Galactic Beast Z will be able to swing in with the 16k attack power. So let's see. She needs to check at least a couple of triggers. Her hands are also pretty small because of the fact that she doesn't really have any advantage engine to draw cards. So unfortunately no triggers. But I think she will definitely survive the next turn because of the fact that firstly he's not a limit break. Secondly, she still have 1 PG in his hand. Another huge trigger. Wow. It's a great opportunity for Misaki to deplete the opponent's huge triggers. Huge triggers are very, very important, especially in the late game. After limit breaking, you want to plus off your limit breaks, then check on those huge triggers. Getting huge triggers very early is very detrimental for your gameplay. So she shuffle backs on. Doesn't really matter because she doesn't have any triggers in the damage zone. So both players are now equal to 3:3. But Karma with a larger hand size. So what will Karma write? Will he write the Dangari or will he write the Vermilion? It's still a mystery. He passes the ride. Very interesting. So is there a chance that Karma did misgrade? It seems like he actually misgraded. So there's a huge. This is a huge comeback for Misaki since even though she's lacking in hand size, opponent not being able to have access to a twin drive is very big. So, but at least he checks the draw trigger, allowing him to replenish some hand size in hopes of drawing a great tree to ride the next turn. Damn, this is brutal. But Misaki is not exactly looking in a good position either because she's already at 4 damage and this turn she will be at 5. So this might be her final turn. A huge trigger, that is huge. This will be her might be her final turn to push if we weren't for the huge trigger to push for game. Because the next turn, there's a huge, with that amount of hand size, she won't be able to survive most likely because she does not have any intercepts available. Also, she has kind of no way to get rid of those double intercepts which will be blocking her from winning the game. So unless she does play stand triggers in this game, I won't be able to check. Yeah, there's no way to find out what triggers she plays. She gets drawn into Gun Rock, which allows her to get some control. I think it's possible she can do something cool, like call Gun Rock, call rear guards, call more rear guards to lower the power, then use Gun Rock to retire the abilities. Basically, Zeus' new ability is if the rear guards get below 0, it gets destroyed. So using Gun Rock's skill, she might lower. She could lower this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lower this to 7k. Then she only will be able to lower by 6k, so it doesn't matter. Yep. So if she can lower this to at least 6k, she will be able to call more rear guard, activate ability, retire this rear guard, and it'll be gone. But this ability allows her to retire one of the intercepts, which is pretty cool. AoE destruction. So will Misaki be able to make it up with her small hand size, with the opponent not being able to draw his great tree? Let's find out. So in this situation, what Misaki really wants is something like a stand trigger or a heal trigger to balance out them. Because in the way I see it, Karma is definitely looking like he might still have a chance to win since he's still at a very low damage point. And Misaki is only 1 PG in his hand. Or her hand, so that's not good. So I have no idea what's the trigger counter, but Misaki seems to not have checked a lot of triggers, but drew quite a number of them in his hand. So far in this game, there's only 4 great trees out. 1, 2, 3. No triggers no trigger checked at all. First check. Oh. No triggers, very, very unfortunate. So Karma will be taking the next turn. And there is a chance that it might be game. And it all comes down to whether... No, it won't be game because Misaki is still at 4 damage. But he does get another draw trigger. There is a lot of triggers checking the damage zone. Unfortunately, 2 of them is actually a whiff trigger. So it doesn't really... So to be fair, both is actually quite even right now. Because Misaki has a high chance of surviving unless Karma does call down and retire, and he gets to swing 3 times. So 1, 2, 3 will be game. So only a retire can win the game. So let's see what he writes. Does he write? Server is actually looking very laggy, so I can't tell whether is he refusing to write or is just the server lagging. So main phase. So still not writing, going for grade 2. There's a chance that Misaki can still win this one. Oh, a Dragonic Death Side. Now that is a different story. Dragonic Death Side will be able to make Stormy into a 10k base, but lacking that 1k. So Karma most likely will be calling something down so that it can swing extra. He does not call anything down, so Misaki will definitely still survive. Definitely surviving because Misaki will be at 16k base, so Stormy will only get to attack the rearguard. So next, Karma will probably be attacking with Dragonic Death Side to the Vanguard and potentially ending the game, but it all comes down to whether Misaki have card in, that one card in the hand, which is the perfect guard. So that one PG saves life. Amazing. So now, if Misaki only has an ability to retire that rearguard, she might win. But it also comes down to how many PGs that Karma has in his hand. And from the way I'm looking, it might be 1 or 2 in his hand. So it's pretty tough for Misaki right now. Oh, she draws into her stand trigger, which is not something that she wants to do. So at the start of the phase, it doesn't have a ability other than Mega Blast. So if she were to check the stand trigger, she might have won because it is extra attack that she really needed. Really unfortunate. So from what I see, she probably still left 2 stand triggers in her deck, I guess. So activates Limit Break, lowering the power of all the rearguards and the Vanguard to 4k. So the rearguard attacks will destroy Incept. Most likely attacking the Vanguard first because there's a chance that she can check key trigger. Oh no, she has just chance that she check a stand trigger. I'm sorry. Because I would say that she might actually just stand triggers to the side. Oh, that's another draw trigger. So even though Karma did not write the grade 2, the amount of triggers is just way too crazy. But it's still able to hit. So there's a draw trigger, draw into a PG. Let's find out. Most likely do because there's a huge hand size. So a stand trigger can also win the game, I feel. Yeah, a stand trigger can win the game. Unless it's... yeah. So a heal trigger, interesting option. The heal trigger will only be useful if she manages to check a defensive trigger on the next turn, I feel. So why hit? You won't hit because there's a huge hand size. Yeah. So it's now Karma's turn, and we'll find out whether he is still stuck in this grade 3. I mean, there's a lot of grade 3s in this damage zone, so it's hard to say. And it's only down to 3 hand size. So he might not have he might be just a lot of PGs because he didn't really call a lot of rearguards down. Previously, if he did call down a rearguard behind Stormy, he could have won as well, I feel. But he chose to keep the PG because I think he has at least 2 or 3 PGs in his hand. He calls down the Red Dragon and a Dragon Death Side. Fortunately for Misaki, she does not have any grade 2s to be retired by Dragon Death Side, otherwise he'll be totally dead. So Stormy becomes a 19k base and a 20k base column for the Red River Dragon side. So this all comes down to whether Misaki checks the defensive trigger. If she checks the defensive trigger, she definitely survives. Oh, and there's no defensive trigger. That's really unfortunate. So both rear guards will be able to swing in, and the only way she can survive is a death heal trigger. Yikes! And there's no death heal trigger, and the winner is Karma. Right, for the finals we have Karma, previously beating Misaki, and Loud Apple. I think we're the first time joining this tournament. So. And using Aqua Force, he actually shows the power of Aqua Force and bragging out the wins in Discord. So let's check out the game right now. So he rides as Stormy, pulling out the Saishin to the back. So he waves the Storm Riders, Splash Assault Unit. Sorry, this is not Storm Riders. Storm Riders are units that can shift themselves to the back. Wave Assault is just when you are third battle or more, it gains extra powers become 9k, I believe. So plus 3k, so it's 10k. Got another Wave Rider, which is just gonna deal an extra damage to push Karma to 2 points of damage. So it's 1 point of damage with Stormy going to damage zone. Second attack, a draw trigger and an SP Naval Gaze Dragon. Amazing looking card. So that will push him to 2 points of damage. He checked the draw trigger as well, replenishing hand size and boosting up defense. But with that, he passes the turn to Karma. Karma's turn. Once again, he rides into his avatar, the Garuda, allowing him to countercharge. Potentially this time he has 2 targets to retire with a Lizard Soldier Saishin, so I believe Saishin is gonna retire some stuff today. Or rather not, he instead uses the Dragonic Death Side to retire the starter, which allows Aquaforce to draw extra cards. Not a pretty good play there. He might actually go for the play, which is to retire his intercepts with rear guard, which is what I'm gonna say, instead of doing extra damage to the opponent. So getting a little more board control over pushing for damage, a pretty good play over there. So with that, he'll be able to countercharge with the Garuda skill as well. So checking a PG, not too good, but he'll be able to plus a bit with the countercharging ability. So stand and draw. Let's see what apples comes up with. So what will you write into? Probably the best right now is just to get write a vanilla unit, or he could go. Oh, he didn't write the best unit. Or he could actually write into the unit which allows him to retire or draw cards. The grade 2 combo, one of Aquaforce's best combos in my opinion, because Aquaforce is one of those that can do lots of stuff during the grade 2 rush, grade 2 turn. So with that, he does a very simple play of getting rid of the intercept, which is the Dragonic Death Side, and passes his turn. So I'm guessing that he has a lot of combo pieces that he doesn't want Saishin to retire, and it is also a possibility that's why Karma didn't use Saishin ability, because he was waiting for Saishin to retire some crucial rearguard units. He just right into his Dragonic Vermilion Kaiser. Kaiser Vermilion, sorry. So being able to push Apple 3 points of damage with that combo with 19k base magic numbers. So with triggers, however, will Apple check a trigger? He can check a draw trigger. I had a feeling that he's coming. I don't know whether it's just a lag glitch or something, but I can feel sometimes when there's a bit of lag, you can feel that the trigger is coming. So it's something that when you play a lot of rank, you know, the server issues. Stand and draw. So will he be able to write the grade 3 he wants, which is the Maelstrom Dragon? Because according to previous reports, he was actually riding Diamantis and he actually won. That's pretty impressive. What is gonna write? Looks like he might not have drawn. Oh, he actually drew his Maelstrom Dragon. So I don't know. So he actually managed to draw into his Maelstrom Dragon. Very important. Because this turn, if he does have a damage adder, he will be able to do some pluses, but he doesn't have any. So pretty unfortunate, because if you get Maelstrom Dragon effect rolling, he will be able to draw 1 and also retire the back row, which is the annoying Saishin. So he attacks the Vanguard, a heal trigger, pretty big right now because he's already at 3, bringing it back to 2-2. Wow. So now with the opponent taking 1 damage, he will be at 2-3, having a 1 damage advantage over the opponent. So a draw trigger, not bad for Karma's side because he'll be able to draw 1 card to add to his hand. And with that, the numbers have been swapped. 2 is a 3, 3 is a 2. So with Karma's turn, with a damage enabler, we will be able to do a Vermilion Thunderbolt, but from what I've seen previously, there probably isn't any damage enablers in this deck. So this is probably going to be a very vanilla turn where he just tries to swing your opponent to 5 damage, 4 or 5 damage, depending on whether he checks the trigger. Looks like he won't be going to 4 or 5 damage because of the fact that he comes down to Garuda. So Kaiser Vermilion attacks the Vanguard. 19k. Second PG down, so that might be his second PG in the bottom deck. So potentially Karma can have 2 PG max in his hand, which is very dangerous, and it's very important as a fighter to know such informations. Okay, and this turn is the turn that Apple will be doing his infamous Aquaforce combo. So this might be very deadly for Karma, but it all comes down to whether Aquaforce player have the combo pieces. But from what I see in his hand, he's have like a freaking 7 hand size or 7 or 8 hand size. That is very likely that he has all his combo pieces, and he also has the Great Tree, which is able to go up to 13k, which is actually kind of required because you'll be swinging a lot with this deck. So with Diamantis, he most likely has the combo going, and we'll be able to see a magical combo right now. Amazing. And he also has the Algo's ability to gain extra attack plus 5k when it's 4 better or more. And he does have the Singular Penguin. Potentially, Apple has every single ability he needed to kinda plus in his hand. This is actually a very beautiful board. So let's see how the Aquaforce combos work. So first of all, he will be using Diamantis' ability, gain plus 3k, making a 12k base, even effective against MLB, swing the Vanguard. It actually has the ability to come +1 to bypass the intercept, which is very good. And Diamantis' abilities at the end of the battle is swap the back row, so the front row can now swing the intercept. Really cool. So now Algos will be swinging into the Garuda, getting rid of the intercept. And next, we will have the Great Tree gain the +3k attack power because of third attack or more. Swinging into the rear guard because the Vanguard's already 16k base. And now, perfect number, 21k into the Vanguard with the Limit Break skill. So this ability, whether it hits or not, will be able to retire your opponent's rear guard and draw 1 card. So powerful. Aquaforce is just an amazing deck right now, especially if you draw the combo pieces. So the attack goes through, no triggers, but Apple will be getting so much advantage. Look at the hand size and retiring that annoying Saishin that he wants to get, that Akama was planning to save to retire some rear guards, which is actually the Singular Penguin. So not really useful anyway. So Karma's turn to make a comeback. With Diamantis' ability to run the back row, it is so damn good because it ensures that you always have a Diamantis since it's gonna run away. The only way Karma could get rid of Diamantis is he has to have a unit that can retire, and I believe Narukami can only retire grade 2s and below, which means there is a bit of problem for Karma to retire the Diamantis. If it's a Basil, he can still retire, but since it is not a grade 2 and below, he won't be a retire. It's basically escaping off Narukami's tricks. So now he'll be activating a Vermilion Thunderbolt in order to wipe out the front row. That is still a lot of advantage because Vermilion Thunderbolt is potentially a +2. But now, he does not have any boosters. That's very unfortunate. So attacking with the rearguard Vermilion for 11k, and the Vanguard Vermilion can also gain plus 3k when attacking, making a 16k base. But he checks a heal trigger, making it 21k base. So the only way the attack can hit through is he needs to check 1 trigger so that he can attack through. But the opponent's hand size is so big, most likely having a PG for sure. So draw trigger, power into the Vanguard, getting damage in. There's also a chance he might not draw in the PGs with all the draw power. He does have the PG, I'm just kidding. So depending on PG and depleting the entire front row, he has the pass turn because his Desert Gunner won't be able to hit the Vanguard. So he passes the turn back to Aquaforce. This is so scary. Aquaforce is just an amazing scary deck. Just look at the amount of hand size, and he is retiring as well. Previously, Aquaforce needs to hit to retire, but now, hit or not, as long as you fulfill the 4th attack condition, hit or not, you'll be able to plus so much with this deck. Aquaforce is just insane, and with the fact that Diamonds can escape itself, it's just a nasty deck to fight against. So right now, potentially we'll see 5 attacks incoming. 1, 2, 3, 4 attacks incoming. I'm sorry, 4 attacks incoming. Which is very devastating. Aquaforce does not use the ability to retire, but as you guys know, Vanguard 0 is very OP when you have stuff that can retire. So you just call a column to hit. So Diamond's ability count +1 to bypass any intercepts. The first unit, which is the Desert Gunner. So this is nasty. So unless Karma does have, no, he does not have, because previously we already saw 2 PGs going out of the game, and rather at the bottom of the deck. So it's one PG is out. Will he be able to survive? Such Oh, this is nasty. He pushes out the back row so that he can do an extra attack. So back row attacks the Vanguard. Attacks the rear guard. The only way he can survive is he checks a heal trigger. He has to check multiple heal triggers because Maelstrom becomes a 21k, which is very nasty. He gets an RPG, amazing. I didn't expect a second PG. So while he check a heal trigger, I'll come down the way to check a heal trigger right now. If he check a heal trigger, he can still win. So the heal trigger is the only way he can pull off a survival. Cause look at that Maelstrom, is huge 24k monster. First check. No triggers, so will it be a heal trigger? Heal trigger is the only way out. Oh, it's no heal trigger, and our champion is Loud Apple. It's his first time, and congratulations Loud Apple for joining the Hall of Fame along with Akuma-san, which is the first champion. So amazing work by Aquaforce. You guys can see Aquaforce is a nasty deck to fight against, and if you have no way to retire the Diamantis, so thankfully I play MLB. When I fight against Aquaforce, I always retire the Diamantis. I always save Blaster Blades for Diamantis. So amazing play, display exhibition of power by Aquaforce. And you guys now know why Aquaforce is one of the best decks right now. Yes, it is an insanely hard deck to build because it requires so many triple rares, but if you have a really solid deck, Aquaforce deck is literally one of the best decks right now. With the ability to get some draw powers, retiring power, multi-attack, it's definitely one of the best decks. So I want to thank all the participants who participated today, and congratulations to Loud Apple for winning the 10 booster packs, which will be sent to you in 1 week time. Now Busho will be sending them. So anyway, if you guys would like to check out or participate in my next tournament, please check out my description down below for my Discord and join my Discord channel. We're just there to chill and chat, and until the next tournament comes. So if you guys would like to stand a chance to win free booster packs to power your deck and just get me to showcase your decks in an epic card fight, be sure to check out my Discord channel. So peace out and love you guys. Rawr.